All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to another very special episode of Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. I have a great show planned for you here, primarily to update the people that have been following my content, our content here at the GNA, short for January Networking Association. If you've been following us for quite a while, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening lately, and I've been correcting the record and clearing the air and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And we're going to continue to do a bit more of that here today because it is warranted to do so. But before we get to all of that, as always, let me first of all make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Let me make sure that the back end of YouTube is rolling well. And it looks like it is. Let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. And it looks like it has. And let me do a sound check here. Primarily to update the people that have been following my content, our content here at the GNA, short for January Networking Association. If you've been following us for quite a while, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening lately, and I've been correcting the record and clearing the air. And all right, looks like all is rolling well. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Give me a second. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn is in the house. She says, hey, love, and Tia is in the house. Hello, Eli. Hello, Tia. Hello, my love, Dawn. 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out here on the in-studio streams. Tia says Dawn with the Christmas emotes, however you want to call them. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So much going on, so little time. I've got 2 hours max to get through a bunch of stuff. I think I can get through it probably in about an hour and a half, but it'll be no longer than 2 hours. Don and I have some other things going on today, and there will more than likely also not be a Walking with Purpose stream later this afternoon or early evening. More than likely not. I'm choosing to do this instead because I need to be in the studio. I need to read from some notes that I've taken, and it's very important that I get the information out properly and as best as possible. So let's start off by hang on a second. Let's start off by sharing the title of the stream. The title of the stream is Nice Try. I Will Not Fall for the Trap, plus April 2026 and more record correcting. One more time, the title of this show is Nice Try. I Will Not Fall for the Trap, plus April 2026 and more record correcting. I'm going to start off by saying we're in sync. We're good. I'm going to start off by saying that this stream here today is going to be professional. It's going to be respectful. I'm going to limit mentioning names. The only names I will probably mention are people from our group over here. I'm going to be talking about some other groups that I feel have been tremendously affecting our presence out here on YouTube, creating reputational harm, affecting us algorithmically on YouTube by keeping us sucked into their drama trap that we've been trying to get out of, and just a whole bunch of other things. I'm going to be sharing a decision I made regarding the current civil case that I filed on another YouTube out here. We're just going to refer to him as the defendant. I've made another decision regarding that case, and I'm going to be sharing that decision here today because it's relevant, and you'll see why when we get to it. And then after I get through that, I'm going to also clear the air regarding something that's been put out regarding the judge that is presiding over my circuit civil case against the defendant out here on YouTube. There's something out on the internet called Stacygate, and it was put out by one man that wasn't happy with the judgment that Judge Stacy made, and she did absolutely nothing wrong. She followed the law, and I'm doing this because the group of people surrounded by the defendant, of my case, have put out negative things regarding this, and I feel it's absolutely necessary that everyone knows the truth and knows where we're at with everything. So that is that. The first thing that I want to talk about is, who does the GNA welcome? And who don't we welcome? The GNA welcomes everyone, okay? We do not discriminate at all. We welcome everyone, including vulnerable people and including people that are a part of a protected class. It has been mentioned by this, let's just call it a hate group of people that has primarily been built by the defendant in my circuit civil case and other people that are acting in concert with him, including another lady that has tried to intervene in our circuit civil case. We're going to refer to her as the non-party of the case. And this non-party has been making a lot of content on myself lately and on my GNA organization, our GNA organization here, Genuine Networking Association. And she's been mentioning some things that are absolutely not true. And I'm here to correct the record on that. Okay. Essentially, the non-party did a stream earlier today that was removed from YouTube and re-uploaded to Rumble. I guess she felt it was a little bit too hot for YouTube. I actually removed my 2 streams from yesterday and re-uploaded them to Rumble, so they're still available for you to view, but I removed them from YouTube, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. I'll tell you why. Okay, they did not get taken down. They were removed by me and re-uploaded to Rumble. But the non-party lady that did a stream earlier today, over the last 12 hours, has been trying to rehash a narrative that was initially started by the defendant many years ago. That's also been amplified by this non-party lady over the last 2.5 years since she's known me and started making hateful content on me. And in essence, what she did was she, basically tried to start up that, loop again where she's trying to say that Eli and his organization discriminates against vulnerable people or people that are a protected class. Because in a previous live stream that she actually played on her stream earlier today, I didn't get a chance to view much of the stream, but I noticed she was playing a stream where I said that. I mentioned something like, if these people are going to continue to come at me and try to paint me as someone that doesn't accept vulnerable people or people that are a protected class, then I just won't work with those people. And the reason why I said that, and they know it, but they took it out of context like they always do, because, that's the only thing their audience will tune into, right? I said that because I just didn't want to deal with these people, and these people have made this up completely. And then additionally, they get vulnerable people or people that are a part of a protected class to come on their live stream panels and, talk negatively about me. And then they exploit that for content, for commercial monetization. And that's really sad to me. It's absolutely very, very sad to me that these people would try to paint me as someone that is discriminatory when I'm not. I am not discriminatory to anyone, let alone vulnerable people or people that are a part of a protected class. But then they go and they flip the narrative into a way that makes me look really bad in front of their Eli hate audience. And then they bring on these vulnerable people or protected class people onto their panels. And then they basically feed them, something completely different than what's actually happening. And then these vulnerable people get upset on their panels. And it just creates a lot of drama. It draws their audience in. It paints me as something that I'm not. And all the while, they are commercially monetizing this. And this is what the vulnerable people don't understand. I really wish they would understand that. I care about them. I do. So the bottom line is we accept everyone at the GNA, but what we don't accept are people that are misbehaving. Okay. So here's the thing. This is not about vulnerable people. It is not about people that are a protected class. This is about conduct and behavior in general. Every human being out there, regardless of your situation, is held accountable and responsible to the same conduct. Okay? And whenever I talk about people out here on YouTube and I share my thoughts, it is not based on their vulnerabilities. It is not based on them being a protected class. It is not based on, any diagnosis or anything. It is not based on anything like that. It is based on their actual behavior. Well, yeah, Tia, you're right about that. You're right. They're using those people for content. And they know it. And that's part of why I wanted to go live from the studio today to address this. Okay. So again, the GNA, short for January Networking Association, we accept everyone. We love everyone. We have no lines. When it comes to discrimination, we have no color lines, no nothing like that. We love and accept everyone. What we don't want around us and the people that we won't work with are people that are simply out of line, misbehaving, right? Are out of control, are erratic. We don't want that, and we don't need that here. And that goes for everyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from, okay? That has nothing to do. Your behavior, let me make it very clear out there to people that just don't understand or want to pretend to not understand or try to convince their audience, something different than they actually understand, but they need content, so they spin it a different way, right? Let me make it very clear here that we accept everyone, but it's based on their conduct. And if we remove people from our organization or our channels out here on YouTube, we remove them based on their conduct and nothing else. Everyone is capable of misbehaving, and that has nothing to do with your mental state. It has nothing to do with, you being a protected class or not. It has nothing to do with you being a vulnerable individual or not, or anything like that. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It has to do with your behavior and your behavior alone. I think I made myself clear enough. What do you folks think in the chat? 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out while we're live here. Give me a second. All right. Sorry, I had to respond to a text real quick. So now that we have that out of the way, okay? Excuse me. So the defendant in the circuit civil case that I filed on him is going to be going live later tonight. If you watch this the day it's released, either live or on the replay, this is December 22nd, 2025. So if you want to go back and refer to the defendant's live stream, if you know who he is or what his channel is, I'm not going to share that here. December 22nd, 2025. The defendant is going live tonight, and he's going to talk about a bunch of things in the past. He's going to talk about the past times where I've threatened to sue people and stuff like that. It's absolutely nothing new. And he made a community posting that only has one comment right now. And he's saying that I've spent years threatening and posturing and trying to rewrite history and blah, 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 whatever, right? He's going to be revisiting my I'm totally suing moments that never became reality. Yeah, I never sued people back then, but I'm suing you now, so what's the point? Reviewing old content and then contradictions and meltdowns. Of course, that happened. I had many moments out here like you have. And it was because a lot of the things that you and your group did, and I've learned how to handle them better. So you want to rehash that because you have no other content? Is that what it is? And then he's saying he's going to look at my current threats, legal fantasies, and dramatic courtroom storytelling. Wow. Okay. I'm just out here sharing the truth. I'm just out here sharing what people have seen publicly between what actually happens on YouTube and what they can see publicly on the court docket. What your future looks like if you keep doubling down instead of growing up. What my future looks like if I keep doubling down instead of growing up. What translation means what's going to happen if I continue to do the right thing and hold you accountable is what you mean in other words, right? And you're going to see, and this may rewrite the way you want to go along with your stream tonight. I'm sure you're watching right now. That's up to you. It's a public platform, free country, right? Right? And then he says, this is not harassment, it's commentary. It's parody. It's accountability wrapped in the Christmas spirit. Oh, okay. So what you're saying is that you need me for your content. it's obvious. Like, you want to make parody around me because your audience is 95% Eli haters. And, you know, that's the only way you really get attention out here, I guess, right? Let me see here real quick. Let me check out the chat here real quick. Okay, we're good. Then he says that they're laughing and analyzing and they're rolling tape, and then they're checking their receipts twice. And then he says, the ghosts are coming. Okay. I look forward to your ghosts, and we'll just go from there. Not a whole lot of engagement on that posting, because it's the same people that have been around for 6 to 8 years that have heard the same thing over and over and over and over again, and they can see the difference in contrast between myself and what I filed and yourself and what you filed, right? Hang on, give me a second. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly and see me clearly. Sorry, I had to mute for a second. I thought I heard something. Everyone's okay. Don's okay. The dogs are okay. It's all good. All right, so I guess we all look forward to seeing what you have to present tonight that you haven't presented 6,000 times in the last, 6 years or so, 6+ years. Okay. Anyway, besides that, let's get to what we're really, really here for. Let's get to what I feel is going to make a big difference. And I sat around and thought about this. I sat around and thought about this for a while. And I finally decided that it needs to be done. Because you would figure that people involved in the defendant's group that have been actively helping him in concert, defame me, and otherwise, right, would have de-escalated by now. You would figure they would have de-escalated. But no. The lady that we're going to, again, refer to as the non-party that's tried to intervene in our circuit, our circuit civil case, which is what I'm trying to say. She's made many filings in the case without requesting leave of court and then filing a motion to intervene. She continues to escalate while the defendant, in my opinion, has somewhat de-escalated. He hasn't fully de-escalated, but he has de-escalated more so than he ever has. And it seems like a lot, in my opinion, it seems like a lot of the Eli hate content and attacking Eli content has shifted over to this non-party lady, right? That has tried to file motions through our court case, and even she's emailed, and she even has emailed the judicial assistant requesting hearings several times, and every time the judicial assistant has told her that she's not a party to this case because she hasn't properly requested leave of court and hasn't filed a motion to intervene. And she doesn't want to do that because she doesn't want to be held accountable for what she knows, in my opinion, she's doing, right? And last night, she made a posting. She made many, many postings, but I'm not going to go through all of them because they're just, I'm sure she's watching right now. She just shared the defendant's posting 2 minutes ago. I'm sure she's watching right now. I'm glad you're watching if you're here, because you're going to definitely want to hear what I have to say. Basically, before I get to that, let me just share this with you folks. Why did I put those streams? Why did I remove those streams from YouTube? Because this non-party lady started to put out on her live stream saying that I was bullying and harassing somebody, like a vulnerable individual or something like that, or an individual with a protected class. And I was not doing that at all. But because she stirred that up, and then she got the woman I was talking about involved, they all started to mass flag my channel. And even though I didn't violate any terms of service, whenever YouTube gets a bunch of mass flags, especially involving, a protected class or vulnerable people, they're more prone to act on that or even make a mistake on that. And I didn't want to risk having any of my videos go down when my intention was to just correct the record, right? And again, I corrected the record by saying, we don't judge people here because they're vulnerable people or they're a protected class. We don't judge them on that. If anything, we judge people based on their behavior. And everyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from, once again, is held accountable to the same standard behavior-wise. Okay? So because, in my opinion, the non-party lady initiated a false flagging campaign on me, like, in my opinion, she always does that, I decided to remove those videos from YouTube, and I re-uploaded them both to my Rumble. If you go to the community walk here on GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, you can see the links there. And that's why in the first part of my my stream, hey, Lewis, how you doing? Welcome to the show. 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out. Good afternoon, Eli, says Lewis. And TS says, hey, Lewis. And that's why I titled my stream in the beginning, Nice Try. I will not fall for the trap. You see, ma'am, non-party lady, your trap is to try to get people that you perceive to be your enemies, which we're not your enemies. We're your entire content. Without us, you don't have any content, right? In our opinion, right? You try to get us to react and say things in certain ways that set up a trap for you and your people to mass flag us. And that's exactly what I feel, in my opinion, you were trying to do here. You have done this to many other people, in my opinion, ma'am. You have done this to one of our friends here, GLM, one of our GNA executives now, ODN, and many other people. You set up these false flagging campaigns, in my opinion, okay, that I'm entitled to, protected speech, right? You set up these false flagging campaigns because you can't beat your per se enemies the proper way, because the things you're doing, in my opinion, are flat out wrong, and you know it. So the only way that you can get back at the people that you're going at as part of your drama channel on YouTube, like you say, you call it a drama channel now, the only way you can get back at them is by trying to get them shut down or trying to get them, community guideline strikes or terms of service violations, right? Lewis says he's doing great today. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for being here, Lewis. Thank you so much. So I just want to put that out on the record. I recognize the game. I recognize the trap. I always have. I always will. I'm not going to feed into the trap. And that's why, from this point on, I'm going to be extra careful with how I phrase things, like I am doing here in this stream, right? Because you can flag it all you want, and there's nothing that violates the terms of service in any way, shape, or form, right? Right? And you know that's what it is, but you're going to spin it a different way, because you telling the truth about me to your audience, in my opinion, doesn't work for them, which in turn doesn't work for you and your donations, in my opinion, right? Anyway, so that's the first part. Now, let's go to April 26th, and then after that, we're going to take a break, and then after break, we're going to talk about more record correcting. Okay. So this non-party lady has not de-escalated. Not only has she not de-escalated, she has tremendously amped it up to the point of where she's posted on her community wall, and I'm just going to paraphrase. I'm not going to read it exactly, but she's basically saying that she's told me many times that she doesn't have any interest in suing me. And then she apologizes and says, this one can be on your dime. Okay. So in essence, I'm going to interpret that and in my opinion say that you really do want to go back to court with me. You just don't want to initiate the lawsuit. You want me to initiate it because you want me to pay for it, right? And then she says that she's a drama reaction channel and she's going to, keep doing herself and and I can either accept it or not. And then she's saying other things like I can yell all night and blah, 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 right? Yeah. That's a bunch of static. None of that matters. Right? But it's very telling to me. That she doesn't plan on ever de-escalating. She is, in my opinion, fixated on not only destroying my reputation of my name and my likeness, but also my business's reputation and my business, the Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short. We do have a business license here in Redwood City, California. We are also a limited liability company, LLC, with the state of California. We also have a registered trademark with the state of California. And earlier this year, we were approved finally, and we have a full-blown USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, federal registration on our logo and our name. Okay. I also have a fictitious business name, known as a DBA, filed here in San Mateo County at the county assessor's office in California. You file for your DBA or your fictitious business name through the county assessor's office. And it's Elias Melas, DBA, Genuine Networking Association, or GNA for short. I also have copyrighted a bunch of my images through the United States Library of Congress, also known as the U.S. Copyright Office, right? So I've pretty much protected the business as best as possible, right? But despite all of that, despite all the protections I put in place, this non-party lady doesn't care. What she cares about is the fact that she's a drama channel and that she's going to keep on doing her, which is basically making content on me 24/7, 365. Right? Now, if she can switch gears and talk about anything besides me, well, yeah, I mean, there is a possibility that, hell could freeze over, but hey, the chances of that, right? So I'm beginning to realize that she's not going to stop. And the reason why she's not stopping is because she's a non-party to the case. And technically, the courts can't hold her accountable for any of her behavior, right? So I've decided that I'm going to do something here. That's probably going to be the next thing people are going to be talking about for all day today, the rest of the week, probably the rest of the year, probably for a while. And I don't care how much people talk about this. The more you talk about it, the more you're going to bring attention to the truth of the matter regarding my business and my name and likeness and all that stuff, right? Give me 1 second. Let me make sure once again that we're still rolling smoothly here. I want to make sure that everything's still going through. To realize that she's not going to stop. And the reason why she's not stopping is because she's a non-party to the case. And technically, I just got an email from GLM. GLM, if you're watching, you are not blocked here. If you want to send me another email and let me know which channel do you think you're blocked on, I'll look at it. But the only person that could block you here would be me because you're a moderator. Anyway, so here's a synopsis of what I'm going to do. I did run this through ChatGPT, but I already knew what I was going to do. I just had ChatGPT organize it. So this is regarding adding the non-party as a defendant to the existing Seminole County case. You heard that right? Adding the non-party as a defendant to the existing Seminole County case. Objective: why this matters. Add the non-party as a co-defendant in the existing Seminole County Circuit civil case currently against the defendant to bring all coordinated conduct into one court and one record. Yeah, you both are acting in concert. You share the same audience, right? You've been amplifying the defendant's embezzlement video every single day, non-party lady. And so, I mean, there you go. Enable court-enforced conduct restrictions, injunctive/protective relief. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Court-enforced conduct restrictions. Increase accountability and deterrence by making the non-party a formal party. Yeah. I wonder if she would de-escalate once named as a formal party to the case. Avoid fragmented litigation across counties. Yes, she's in a different county, but she's still in Florida, and all of Florida has jurisdiction on her, as long as that putting her in the case in this county with the defendant is relevant. And it is. We'll get to all that. We'll get to all of that and what I know will be her objections. We'll get to that in just a few here, okay? Preserve the existing non-economic damages posture, no financial discovery leverage. So, yeah, if I were to add her in this case as an actual party, it would be for the same thing as the current defendant, non-economic damages. I would not be suing her for loss of income. This would not involve my business. This would involve injunctive relief. Because what she really wants to do is subpoena my financials, and she won't be able to because I'm not asking her for money, or I would not be asking her for money. This is a strategic consolidation move, not a speed move. Oh, yeah, this is going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Give me a second. All right. Yeah, it's going to take a while. We'll get to that. When is the proper time to do this? Target window: after the court resolves the pending motion to dismiss and the anti-SLAPP phase against the current defendant. Yeah, we're going to wait till after that. Why timing matters. It keeps the current dispositive phase clean and focused. Yeah, we want to make sure that the case survives. I know it's going to survive. I have more than enough. But filing this prematurely before a dispositive hearing that could technically end the case is premature. You wait until it passes that point, which is going to be in April when we have that hearing. Avoids giving the non-party procedural leverage to derail or complicate early rulings. Right. If we were able to add her into the case right now, she would be filing so many things on her end of the case that it would affect, the what do you call it? The motion to dismiss / anti-SLAPP hearing, which is going to happen in April with the current and only defendant at this time. Positions the amendment as a next phase completeness step, not a disruption. Right. Absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary, and the timing needs to be right. Judges are more receptive to amendments once a case is clearly moving forward. Like I said a second ago, we need to wait till the case, passes the motion to dismiss / anti-SLAPP that's going to happen in April. Because if not, it doesn't make any sense, right? Realistically, if the case survives dismissal, the optimal window is early discovery, projected April through May of this coming year, 2026 timeframe. The time to file this is going to be very, very shortly after the motion to dismiss / anti-SLAPP would be denied. What needs to be filed? High level. To add the non-party, the case is amended, not refiled. So, ma'am, I'm sure you're listening. I don't have to pay another $400 to add you to this case. It's only going to cost $10 for the summons and then another $75 to serve you through, the same company you use that you found out through me, which is, what do you call it? ABC Legal, right? Well worth it. Well worth it, right? So again, to add the non-party, the case is amended, not refiled. Number 1, motion for leave to amend the complaint. I would need to file a motion for leave, which is what you would need to file if you want to become a party to the case on your own. But you don't want to do that. And it's been obvious why you don't want to do that. So now we're going to do it for you. That's just the way it goes, right? So motion for leave to amend the complaint filed under Florida Rule 1.190. And I'm not going to show any of this on the screen at all. I'm just reading it, okay? I don't know why GLN thinks she's blocked. She's not blocked. I don't know what she's talking about. Asks permission to file a third amended complaint, because I have a second amended complaint now. I'd be asking for permission to file a third amended complaint. Explains why the non-party must be added now. That's obvious. We don't have to get into that. If you've been around for a while, you know why. How her conduct is intertwined with the existing claims. I've got so much proof acting in concert already filed currently. It's going to be extremely clear to show Judge Stacy, why it would be right to add her as a co-defendant or an additional defendant to this case. She basically is a part of the same exact group as the defendant. They share the same exact audience. They share each other's content. They all conglomerate behind the scenes. We'll get into that once discovery starts, right? Trust me, this is all going to come out. Okay. Why handling all claims together promotes judicial efficiency. Absolutely. And not only promotes judicial efficiency for the courts, it promotes judicial efficiency for me and everyone else. Right? Why file two separate cases on the same thing when these two people are working together? It's obvious. I've already proven that through my filings currently with the court, right? Nightbot just timed out GLM. GLM cannot be timed out by Nightbot because she was a mod, unless it was a different GLM. GLM, try to come back in here. I don't know why. Give me a second here. Ah. Let me see here. Give me a second. I got your email, GLM. Give me a second here. Let me take a look. Give me a second. All right, I'm on your page right now. You are not hidden from the channel, GLM. GLM, come on in and just type hi. You are not hidden from the channel. And is that a new channel, GLM? Did you just start another new channel? Yeah, the only reason why Nightbot would be timing her out is because she's not a mod on that channel. Let me check real quick here, okay? Sorry, give me a second here. The only thing I can think of is if one of the mods took away by mistake her mod wrench while moderating the other day, because it would have to be I'm not sure if a managing mod can do that or if I did that by mistake. You're using block words, GLM. Just come on in and say hi. Just come on in and say hi. I do not know what's going on. Anyway, let me get back to the show here. All right. Number 2, proposed third amended complaint attached to motion. This is the exact version the court is asked to approve. So what I would do is I would file a third amended complaint attached to the motion requesting leave of court to add the non-party as a party. Okay. It will add the non-party as a defendant in the caption, keeping the existing defendant allegations intact. And then check this out. Add specific counts against the non-party, example defamation, and even civil conspiracy. Include a civil conspiracy / acting in concert count tying the defendant and the non-party together. I've already done that in the court with many filings over the last month and a half or 2 months. Seek non-economic and conduct-based relief, no income or business damages, meaning no subpoenaing my financials, which is what she wants to do so badly to publicly try to shame me with that. Important. This does not create a new lawsuit. It updates the existing one. Okay? Yeah, I do not know if that must be a different. GLM was a moderator here. I do not know what happened. I'm going to have to figure that out with you afterwards. Yeah, you're still getting timed out for using the blocked word. I'll have to figure it out later, GLM. I'm sorry. Venue and jurisdiction. Let's tackle everything that the non-party is already thinking and is going to actually do, in my opinion. Okay. Venue and jurisdiction, executive clarity. Okay. The defendant chose Seminole County, even though he doesn't live in Seminole County, he lives in the surrounding county. He chose Seminole County when he filed the dismissed stalking case. And that's why I filed it there, because that's the right place for it, the same court where he filed it at. The malicious prosecution claim properly sits where that proceeding occurred, same courthouse, Seminole County, right? The non-party's alleged conduct is intertwined with that same campaign and audience. That is obvious. Now, we all know that. They know that. She knows that. The male defendant knows that. Florida venue law allows claims against multiple defendants to proceed together when they arise from the same nucleus of facts. There's absolutely nothing to dispute there, in my opinion. But she's going to dispute stuff because that's what she does. She needs content, in my opinion. She's going to dispute everything for content. But one day, she'll have to just face the facts, right? That day will come. Bottom line, Seminole County is a defensible and coherent venue for adding the non-party. Venue challenges are expected but manageable. So she's going to challenge that. Oh, I'm not in this county. It's not my jurisdiction. First of all, the entire state of Florida has jurisdiction. Technically, it's supposed to be, for the most part, in your county. But in this case, because you're acting in concert, and we already have a case against someone you're very closely working with, then this is the proper venue. So you can argue that. She will argue that, and I'll be ready with my objection. And yeah, it'll be interesting having hearings with her as well in front of Judge Stacy on Microsoft Teams. What happens after the court? What happens after the court grants leave? So once the court would approve this to add her as a party, once leave is granted, third amended complaint is filed as the operative pleading. That includes the current defendant, and it would include her as another defendant. Summons issued for the non-party. Like I said earlier, $10 for the summons. The court issues that. I serve her through ABC Legal. $10 for the summons to the court. $75 to ABC Legal. That's all. The non-party is formally served. This is what makes her a party. And interestingly enough, she's already on the email. So she's already on the e-file, e-portal, the Florida e-portal, e-file email list in our case. So she's all ready to go. You're all ready to go, ma'am. Now we just have to file this and get you served, right? In April or May, whenever the other, when the motion to dismiss anti-SLAPP is done with, right? Here's what she's going to do. The non-party will likely respond with a motion to dismiss, an anti-SLAPP motion, and a venue challenge. I already know what you're going to do. I'm 4 or 5 months ahead of you, ma'am. She will absolutely put a 1 in the chat if you feel she will absolutely file a motion to dismiss, an anti-SLAPP motion, and a venue challenge. It's all good. I expect that. I already know what's going to happen. But she will then be a formal party to the case, and eventually any continued conduct will hold her accountable by the court in a potential protective order against her as well as the current defendant. She will absolutely file a motion to dismiss, an anti-SLAPP motion, and a venue challenge. She may even countersue me. I'm ready for all of it. I'm ready. She'll probably file all that, and then she'll probably try to countersue me for like intentional infliction of emotional distress or whatever, right? She'll file something, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Let's see. I don't know what's happening with GLM, but I don't even see her as a moderator. GLM, let me ask you a question. Did you recently hide your channel and unhide your channel? Please email me and let me know. If you did that, it probably automatically took away your mod wrench. I would need to re-give it to you. You need to send me your channel link, GLM, and I will get you remodded, and then you won't be dealing with Nightbot anymore. This is anticipated and planned for. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know she's going to file a motion to dismiss. I know she's going to file an anti-SLAPP. I know she's going to file a venue challenge. And I also know she's going to probably file a countersuit. And I'm ready for it. Cost summary. There is no new $400 case filing fee. Expected costs, summons $10. Service of process, typically a few $100, $75 with ABC Legal. Total of $85. Internal prep time, I've already got all the information. and I have literally like 4 months to prepare this third amended complaint. And my motion for leave to amend the complaint and add her as a party. No automatic new discovery or financial exposure is triggered by adding the non-party alone. So if you're thinking you're going to subpoena my financials, I'm not suing you for money. It would be for injunctive relief, same thing as the defendant already a part of the case, right? So no automatic new discovery or financial exposure is triggered by adding the non-party alone. She can file whatever she wants. It'll get quashed. Strategic trade-off accepted by design. Yes, adding the non-party will extend the case timeline. This will absolutely extend the case, and I'm good with that. I don't care how long it takes. I want justice. Many people out here want justice, okay? Right now, we're already 3.5 months plus into this case. By the time we get to the motion to dismiss anti-SLAPP, it's going to be 6 months. And then at that point, the defendant will have to respond to the complaint. Now, he might file an appeal. So we got to also take appeals into consideration, right? And that's all based on, how Judge Stacy handles things, right? But here's the thing. I'm not seeking money. I will seek punitive damages. And if we go to trial or even before that, I can seek and request punitive damages. And that's not loss of income. So this is basically for a protective order and injunctive relief to stop this from happening, right? So right now, if I didn't add her to the case, I'm looking at this case lasting at least 2 to maybe 3 years with the defendant. If she becomes a part of this, and we have 2 parties now, I foresee this case lasting anywhere from 3 to 5, maybe even 6 years. And I have no problem with it taking as long as it takes, because once she is a party to the case, everything that she does is being watched by the court and will be held accountable through the court. She can also file stuff, which, that's on her. That's on her. She's already filed some things improperly without requesting leave of court, and filing a motion to intervene. But now she'd be able to properly file things. That doesn't still mean that, they're going to have merit, but she can file stuff at that point legitimately. Extend the case timeline, trigger additional motion practice. Absolutely. She's going to flood the docket, in my opinion. She's going to flood the docket, in my opinion, with a bunch of nonsense, is what I'm thinking. And if something warrants a response, I will respond. If it doesn't, we'll go to the hearings and I'll present my evidence there. And clearly, Judge Stacy will be able to see the contrast difference between myself and the non-party and even the current party, right? That is acceptable because the primary goal is deterrence and completeness, not speed. Meaning that I just want this stuff to stop. Once the non-party is a defendant, her online conduct changes materially due to preservation duties of evidence, discovery exposure, court supervision. This is a long enforcement strategy, a long time enforcement strategy, not a quick settlement play. It's not. That's not what I'm in court for. I'm in court to stop this behavior, however long it takes. Executive bottom line, procedurally viable. Venue theory is defensible. Costs are limited and predictable. Timing is deliberate and strategic, aligned with conduct-based, non-economic relief goals. And finally, next internal milestone. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wait for dismissal of the anti-SLAPP / motion to dismiss. Wait for that to get resolved. Then green light the drafting of the motion for leave plus third amended complaint. I'll have that ready by that time. The moment that even one part of my case survives, the moment that that survives, the very next day I'm filing this. So I'm putting it out here publicly because lots of people have been following this. Lots of people have been seeing what the non-party's been doing, what the regular party's been doing. They've seen me just try to move forward and do my own thing, but, they both continue to escalate. She's escalating a lot more than the current defendant has been, but it's obvious that they are still actively working in concert, and they're not going to de-escalate until the court intervenes and does something about it. So, yeah, this is not a joke. This is absolutely going to happen. So around April or so, shortly after the hearing, if any part of my case survives and we move into discovery, then I'm immediately filing, the motion to request leave to add a third amended complaint and adding the non-party lady to the case. She's not going to stop otherwise. She's going to continue to affect my reputation, not only personally, but regarding my business. And I have to do what I have to do to protect myself and protect the good people that support us and anyone else that needs protection. I have to do this. This is what's going to happen. So enough of that. What do you folks think? Let me know what you think in the chat. I'm going to queue up some royalty-free YouTube music. And give me a second here. Let me see here. Let me see here. All right, that's one. That's two. All right, that's three. All right. Music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for about a 7 or 8 minute break. Then I'm going to come back for another maybe 30 to 45 minutes at the most. And we're going to go over this Stacy Gate thing and share a timeline of the truth of what actually happened compared to what's been put out there publicly by this one man. I'm just going to mention his first name. It's public information anyway. His name is Robert. We're gonna clear the name of the judge because people in this group out here on YouTube are trying to talk smack about it, when the truth of the matter is that she's a really good judge and she follows the law. And just because the law doesn't go your way doesn't mean the judge made the wrong ruling. Judges make rulings based on the law. So we'll get to that when we get back. So stick around. We'll be right Yeah, all right. We are back. We are back. We are back. All right. All right. We are just going to scratch it and get right back down to business. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. And we're just going to get right back to it because we have limited time here. I want to add a few more things very quickly before we move on to the Stacey Gate thing. The non-party lady, she religiously watches my streams. It is practically, I'd say at least 85, 90, maybe 95% of her content. That's what her audience wants, right? She's already made 2 postings to try to do exactly what I just said she's going to try to do. Now, she has the right to contest it. She has the right to contest the venue. She has, the right to file a motion to dismiss and anti-slap. That doesn't mean they're going to be successful. That doesn't mean that the court will not, grant the motion to add her as a party to this case. And she knows that, but she has to continue the YouTube theatrics in the meantime until she's permanently stopped from doing this kind of stuff that's been affecting me out here on YouTube. And I'll just say this, I'm not going to show anything on the screen here. But basically, she put out a screenshot saying that my current anti-slap hearing, because the current the current defendant's anti-slap motion, the court is evaluating whether the lawsuit itself is retaliatory, meant to chill speech, or an abuse of the judicial process. The plaintiff is already under heightened scrutiny. What heightened scrutiny am I under? I've never tried to silence anyone's freedom of speech. The defendant filed that. That doesn't mean I'm doing that. I'm not doing that. He has to prove that at the hearing. And I have proof, massive proof of defamation that you've also been amplifying through your end. Trying to add a new defendant after anti-slap looks like retaliatory by default. What is your reasoning for that? Nothing's been proven. We haven't even had that hearing yet for the defendant to have a chance to try to even prove that I've tried to silence him. No, this is about defamation. Okay. Let's see. One other noteworthy thing here. Let me see. Let's see. To add a non-resident, non-party to a Seminole County case, the plaintiff must show personal jurisdiction. He must show purposefully directed conduct into Florida, and that the conduct was tortious, caused harm in Florida, and was not just protected speech. I can prove all that. What was the other part here? Where's the other part? Give me a second here. Oh, yeah. So he cannot add you simply because you talked about him. I don't care if she talks about me. I care about if she defames me, and she has. And she says lots of defamatory things. She tries to paint me as an abuser, which I'm not. She tries to paint me as someone that attacks people with vulnerabilities and have a protected class, which I have not done that. All I've done is defend myself against bad conduct against anyone. Let's see, you criticize them. I don't care if she criticizes me as long as she doesn't defame me. You associated with someone else. No, you acted in concert with the defendant, the current defendant, and you still are doing it. You're acting in concert without proof of unlawful conduct. Defamation is unlawful conduct. And so, yeah, the suit's going to have defamation and acting in concert and civil conspiracy and other things that I haven't mentioned yet. Let's see. He lost or fears losing anti-SLAPP. I haven't lost anti-SLAPP. We haven't even had the hearing yet. She's not even feeding ChatGPT the right information. It's just she's telling ChatGPT things in a way that's going to output something that, is going to make me look bad in front of her audience. Anyway, all right, you keep on making your postings. And keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep on correcting the record. I will keep on preserving everything. And we'll just deal with it when the time comes around February, or not February, sorry, around April or May. Around April or May, once the motion to dismiss anti-SLAPP is handled with the current defendant. That's that. Don't need to respond to it anymore. Let her put out whatever she wants to put out. It's not going to make a difference. One way or another, all that matters is what Judge Stacy decides when I file this. I'm definitely 100% filing this. I've made up my mind. It is time to really, take action to protect my reputation and my business's reputation. Well, I'm not protecting my business's reputation in this case, but it's my personal reputation that's also tied to my business as well. But I'm not suing in this case. Regarding my business. It's a personal case. So, all right. So let's get to the Stacy Gate thing. Okay. So this was regarding a child support case. Here's the clear timeline and explanation. The first name of this man, that's all I'm going to mention, is Robert. Key acronyms, plain English first. Let me check out the chat real quick. Let me make sure that I'm going through normally. Take action to protect my reputation and my business reputation. I'm not protecting my business reputation in this case, but it's fine. All right. So let's continue here. So key acronyms, plain English first. PCA, per curiam affirmance, an appellate court decision that affirms the lower court without a written opinion. DCA, District Court of Appeal, Florida's Intermediate Appellate Court, here, the 5th DCA. So for Seminole County, Florida, the District Court of Appeal is the 5th District Court of Appeals, okay, or of appeal. Mandamus, an extraordinary writ asking a higher court to force a government official or court to perform a non-discretionary legal duty. Keep that all in mind, okay? On October 6, 2021, Robert moved to set aside or amend the settlement alleging fraud. The settlement is never adopted as a court order and litigation continues. Yeah, so a lot of times when people settle a case, okay, unless you have stipulations that the court signs off on, settlement agreements are not usually adopted by the court, okay? Or they're not, technically enforceable, at least in the same case of the court. You would have to sue again unless you explicitly ask for that, and then the judge grants that. Okay. July 18th, 2022, Judge Stacy notes Robert agreed to pay 100% of daycare and medical insurance at that time. Okay. February 23rd, 2023. The parties stipulate to temporary child support while Robert continues paying daycare and insurance. April 25th, 2023. Hearing before Judge Stacy. The court conducts a hearing on ongoing and retroactive child support. Key outcomes from Robert's perspective. This was actually, regarding what he filed, and he showed this on the website he created. He put out the court papers there. Judge Stacy denies certain medical insurance credits. Judge orders daycare expenses to be shared pro rata. Okay, sounds fair to me. Result: Robert is now required to pay child support rather than receive it. April 27th, 2023, second hearing. Robert attempts to introduce updated financial affidavits reflecting the court's earlier rulings. Judge Stacy excludes the updated affidavits. Court uses tax return income for the mother rather than affidavit income. Well, tax returns would more so prove it than an affidavit. Retroactive support is calculated accordingly. She provided tax returns. The judge went with the actual proof. And we don't know what that affidavit put on it because a lot of that information is not publicly available. Only what the parties make publicly available is available. August 8, 2023, Judge Stacy enters a partial final judgment on child support, memorializing the April rulings. Okay. Post-judgment 2023. Robert files a motion for rehearing. The motion is denied. September 6, 2023, Robert files a direct appeal to the 5th District Court of Appeal, 5th DCA. So yeah, this guy was going through the entire appeals process because he was unhappy that the law was properly applied to him and it just didn't go his way. August 6, 2024. Give me a second here. Lewis says the truth came out for all of the last lies that all that 2-year-olds are spreading around like Pinocchio. You're right about that, Lewis. You're right about it. Thank you for that. August 6, 2024, the 5th DCA District Court of Appeals issues a PCA, per curiam affirmance. This means the appellate court affirmed Judge Stacy's ruling without explanation. That means they agreed. So the District Court of Appeals found nothing wrong with Judge Stacy's rulings or ruling. She ruled within the law. And the DCA basically affirmed it without explanation. They don't have to explain anything. They just say, hey, we agree. We agree with the judge. September through November 2024. Robert files motions for rehearing, motions for a written opinion, motion to recall mandate. All are denied. At this point, the appeal process is fully exhausted. This guy appealed in every single way imaginable and got denied every time. Keep that in mind. It's going to sound pretty familiar down the road. In my case. For the other side, that is. February 13th, 2025, Robert files a petition for writ of mandamus in the Florida Supreme Court. This dude took this all the way to the Supreme Court. What he asks for, vacate Judge Stacy's child support order. Oh, God. Order a new trial, recalculate support, alleges gender bias, due process violations, and statutory violations. This is important. Because here's what this guy is asking, right? He's asking the Supreme Court to undo discretionary trial rulings, which is not what mandamus is for. He had no reason to bring this to the Supreme Court. Waste of time. May 19th, 2025, Florida Supreme Court decision. Disposition. The court states, the petition for a writ of mandamus is hereby dismissed. See Matthews versus Cruz. Any motions or other requests for relief are hereby denied. No motion for rehearing or reinstatement will be considered by this court. They shut him down. They shut him down completely. He went to the District Court of Appeals, tried to appeal again. He went all the way to the Florida Supreme Court, and they denied him. And they basically, it looks like they denied him with prejudice. No motion for a rehearing or reinstatement will be considered by this court, the Florida Supreme Court. What that Supreme Court order means, plain English, the Supreme Court did not review the merits. It did not rule on Judge Stacy's conduct. It did not find bias, misconduct, or legal error. It dismissed the case because mandamus cannot be used to relitigate a case. Mandamus cannot substitute for an appeal. Mandamus cannot control judicial discretion. This is exactly what Matthews versus Cruz stands for. Yeah, she's restreaming me again because she's just triggered. Whatever. It'll all work itself out down the road. It's all good. I'm not gonna let it get to me. Bottom line summary, one paragraph. Robert litigated a child support case before Judge Stacy, lost on the merits, appealed to the 5th District Court of Appeal, and lost by per curiam affirmance, exhausted all appellate remedies, and then attempted to repackage the same dispute as a Florida Supreme Court mandamus petition alleging bias and statutory violations. The Florida Supreme Court dismissed the mandamus petition as procedurally improper under Matthews versus Cruz. Denied all relief and barred rehearing. The case is fully closed and no court ever found misconduct, bias, or legal wrongdoing by Judge Stacy. And the story. We are at 1 hour and 36 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up very soon. That was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. That's good, actually. Give me a second. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying this. I've corrected the record. I've shared what's going to be coming in the future. I'm also giving people a chance on the other side to de-escalate. This is your opportunity to de-escalate. Now, here's the thing. Like I mentioned in my stream yesterday, I don't really care about the numbers. Okay? What I care about is people stealing my content. Partially it's stealing content and content theft and all that. The bottom line is, if those people want to view my streams, they can come to my channel and watch them even if they're blocked. That doesn't give someone the right to rebroadcast me unlisted. So I don't see it happening, and I can't assert my copyrights on that, right? Okay. So I'm going to be looking at things like, where are my numbers at when I go live, right? I'm going to be looking at, are defamatory videos and statements still made of me or amplified by the non-party, right? I'm going to be looking at all that. Right now would be a very wise time for every person in this group to de-escalate. And if not, we're just going to continue to go through the court process. I've said what I have to say. I've put it all out there in the most respectful and proper ways possible. I know these people understand the risk. They understand what this means. How they present it to the public is probably going to be different because they need something that's going to suit their narrative. And them being truthful about the situation is not going to keep their audience around. It's not going to suit their narrative. If you want the truth regarding what's going on, I will occasionally update you folks here when warranted. But I'm not going to continue to, and I never did this in the first place, but I'm not going to continue to feed a back and forth loop of the same thing that the current defendant and the future defendant to be have been trying to spin to their audience. It's old, it's outplayed, it's outdone. There's nothing new. It's the same old thing, right? And to you people out there that are a part of that audience, listen, I know you don't like me. I don't expect everyone to like me. You don't have to like me. But I think even you folks realize that, hey, this is the same old thing. It's like hearing the same song 200 times in a row. It's like going to Netflix and selecting one 1-hour show and putting it on repeat and watching it 200 times in the same week and nothing else. That's the same thing. Even you folks know that this has gotten old, right? And here's the thing. I've seen many people pull away. Good for you. I'm not telling you what to do, right? But the one way to truly move forward from this on the other side, my group has moved forward, but the bottom line is we're still being publicly defamed. We're being accused of things that we're not. My business is being defamed. My name is being defamed, right? And the things that these people are doing, rebroadcasting my live streams, especially when they're done unlisted, it still affects me algorithmically through YouTube, right? Now, if you folks want to sit there 3 days before Christmas and support this kind of nonsense, it really truly shows the type of people you are. Grown adults in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond should be a lot more mature than this, right? If you folks are investing that much time into this, I don't have to ask you. You should ask yourselves, is this really worth it? Why are we really doing this? It's stupid, right? Yeah, we don't like Eli. We've made that clear a million times over the last 6 to 8 years. Why do we have to keep wasting any more time? With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other. See you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone. 111111111111111.